Alright, here we are at part 2 of this logo tutorial. If you have not saved your project yet, you should do that now and do it often. You can just go to File and Save, or since I've already saved mine, I will do File Save As, just to show you. And just find yourself a good place to put it. Make sure it's saved as an Adobe Illustrator file. We're not trying to save it as an image at this point. So just hit that, hit Save, and you are ready to continue. So next we're going to make this paddle wheel on the back. Easiest way to do that, obviously, is to get ourselves a circle. So we'll hold down on our tool over here, our shape tool, until we can go to ellipse. To make an ellipse be a circle, we will just hold down Shift as we draw it. I'm going to put my cursor level with the top of the circle I want to make and level with the side of the circle I want to make, roughly. And I will hold down Shift and draw a circle to fit that area. And then just let go. Alright, we've got a circle. And while we're at it, we can choose our color. Make it a nice brownish wood sort of color. Showing. And I think I will also make the stroke, the outer line, the same color as what's going on in the rest of it for now. We'll see how that looks. So I will go to my eyedropper tool or hit I on my keyboard. And you'll remember if we just click like normal, it takes on all the same characteristics. That's not what we want to do. I just want to take the color. So I'm holding down Shift. I'm going to go right on that blue line. And you can't tell because it's so thin, but it took on the same outline color. I'll go to Appearance here, and we'll bring it up to that 3-point stroke that the rest of it has. Alright, looks great. Now we want to go make the petals of the paddle wheel. So I'm going to go to the rectangle tool. I'm going to start outside of the circle so that it's long enough to make a paddle. I'm going to go across the circle, make it thick enough, and then just release. And I want it to be in the middle. So I'm going to shift it around. You can see that pink line if you look closely. If we go closer up there, there's pink lines that appear as guides. Right now, you can tell where the center of that circle is, and we can actually move the center of our rectangle up to where it says center, and so we have it right in the middle. And now, instead of making another rectangle, and you could make a rectangle, you could go in and you could rotate it to get where you think you want it to be. But we are going to just duplicate this instead. We'll make sure it's still selected with the selection tool. We'll go to Object, go to Transform, and we want to rotate it. Now we put in however many degrees we want. We want there to be 6 paddles on here. So since each rectangle makes 2 paddles, one on each side, we need to make 3 rectangles. So, if you can pick up on this, the radius of a circle, well, not the radius, I'm sorry, the angle of a circle is 360 degrees, right? A complete circle. So if we're going to make 6 paddles, each of them will be 1/6 of that. So that's actually 60 degrees. You can put 60 in there, or if you're not sure, if you're doing your own project, you can say 360 degrees, which is the whole circle, and divide it by 6 pieces. I want to have 6 paddles. That'll give you the same angle. Do not click OK, because what that will do is just rotate the one that we have. I don't want to just rotate it, I want a copy of it. So instead, we are going to hit Copy. Boing, and it creates a copy of it. And now we need another copy. So we're going to go to Object, Transform, and if we just go to Transform again at the top, it'll do the exact same thing again, and bam, we've got all the paddle wheels we need. Now I want to combine them into a single shape to keep things easy. So with my selection tool, I make sure this is selected. I hold down Shift. I select the next one. I keep holding down Shift. I select the last one. So they are all selected. And we'll go to our Pathfinder tool again. If you don't have it, as before, go to the window. Make sure Pathfinder is checked, and this window will pop up. And we are going to unite all those shapes as one. Boing. Hooray. All right, so all of the things that we have created so far are stored on our layers tab here. We have a group. This group is just the background that we've put behind it, that picture we started with. This top group has everything else we've been making because we've been working on that layer group. Again, if you don't see it, you can go to Window and go to Layers, and it'll pop up for you. So we can see that the thing that is selected is highlighted with a red box, or sometimes it's a different colored box for a different group. But our petal is above the ellipse, that circle that we made for it. So I'm just going to grab our paddle and drag it down underneath that circle, and so they look correct. And the one final thing I did on mine was I made another circle. I do want you to do this so you can practice having transparent fill. So I'm just going to make another circle inside of that circle. Hold down Shift so it's round. I'm going to use my selection tool to move it around to actually where I would like it to be. We can use those pink guides to get it right on the center again. And on this circle, I want to make the outline be a darker version of that brown. There we go. It's actually filled. We do not need it to be filled. You'll see it's a solid shape there. So if I go to the fill here and choose none right there, it will give us a transparent fill. And then we can move it back to where it should be in the middle. And it's just like that. And I mean, in this case, it doesn't matter if it's transparent or not, but for a future project, it's good to know how to make a transparent fill. And you can do the same thing with the outline. You could make a transparent outline. So now nothing of our circle is visible. Let's go back. All right, we are looking good. Now we have sort of a support here for the awning. And we're going to use the pen tool to draw. So I'm just going to select the pen tool again. I want it to go straight across here. It's actually going to be hidden by this awning when we're done. I'm going to click there. I'm going to put a straight line down here. Put a straight line over to here. So I'm just clicking is all. But now I would like this part here to be curved. So I'm going to go to complete my shape, but I'm going to hold down the mouse button and I'll just drag it until the angle is where I want it to be. Then let go. And now we've got a solid shape. And you'll see it took on the characteristics of the last shape we drew, which was this circle right here. So our awning has no fill and it has a brown outline. And I don't really want that, so I'm going to, for the moment, I'll just stick it the same color as that by using the eyedropper. So it takes on the same outline and everything, but I think we need it to be a darker color. So let's maybe make it a bit more of a purplish blue. That's too dark. Something like that. Okay, again, it doesn't look great being there, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it in my layers window all the way down below everything else I've created so far so that it goes behind there. And I also created a shadow on it in the original, which adds some kind of three-dimensionality to it. It looks okay, but with the shadow, it's pretty cool. So what I would want to do for that is first I need a copy of this. If you click on it, and on your keyboard, if you're using Windows, you're going to do Control-C, and instead of pasting it with a Control-V, this time we're going to do Control-F. Control-F pastes it, but it pastes exactly in front. If I were to just paste it normal, it'll pop up somewhere else where I don't need it to be. So I'll paste it using Control-F, which means it pastes in front of the previous one. And I needed to have a spare of this one, and I'll tell you why in a second. I also need the shape of the shadow that's going to be cast on it from this awning above. So I'm going to select a few of these pieces of the awning by holding down Shift, making sure that my selection tool is what I'm using. I'm going to select maybe 4 of those, and then I'm going to copy, Control-C, and I'm going to paste them in front, Control-F, And then I'm going to just use my arrow keys to take it down to around here. This is going to be the shadow. Perfect. So these four things I'm going to combine into one shape for my shadow, because that'll make it easier to cut the shape out of the other one. So I am going to use my Pathfinder tool again, and I'm going to combine them all together, unite them into a single shape. Now what I'm going to do is take this new shape plus the copy of the support that I made by holding the shift and clicking so that they're both selected. And now I'm going to remove the front from it. Hit this minus front on your Pathfinder tool. There we go. You know what? I think I'd like it better the other way. Instead of cutting that out, I'm going to just keep the area where they intersect. So I'll use this instead. I'm sorry. Hit Control Z and go back if you did that. So there we go. So now I've got a piece that is just this. It's where the awning parts I copied overlapped with the support parts I copied and created that shape. So on this, I'm going to get rid of the outline. I'm going to give it a darker color so that it can be the shadow, darker than the support. And then I'm going to move it underneath the rest of the awning. So it's just right there. And you'll see it's hard to tell, but the dark color of our shadow overlaps the dark color of our line. And we could go to this here and make the line actually happen on the outside of the shape completely, which would help, but I could also in this case just shrink this one up a little bit until it fits right inside of the line and isn't covering it up anymore. Adjust it as needed. And wham, we got a cool looking shadow on there. Sweet. Hit save. Hit save often. Make sure that you're not losing any work if something happens to your computer. What we want to do now is have our alligator in there because he's hungry. He wants to bite the boat. So we are going to go to our drawing. We actually need to be able to see our drawing really well. So I'm going to just close up this layer group that I've been making, and I'm going to hide it with the eyeball so that we only see our background now. And we want to create the shape of this alligator. I'm going to use the pen tool to do this. And this is going to be kind of trickier than the other things you've done with the pen tool so far. So again, to zoom, I'm holding down Alt, and I'm using my middle mouse button to scroll. Okay, alligator. I need to create a new layer because I don't want to be drawing my alligator on top of the background. And I'm going to give him some extra body down here. Even though he's only going to overlap there, I want to make him a complete shape. So I'm going to click here, click over here because this is going to be part of his neck. I'm just going to give him some extra shape to him. Okay, so to make his bumps, his scales there, it's the same thing we did for the boat earlier. We're going to go across to about where that curve is going to end. Click there, drag it out, and then let go. And then I have a curve across the bottom that I want to create, so I'm going to go to where that curve is going to end. Click and adjust. Let go, then I'll go over the next curve, adjust that, give him that scale. Then I'll go up here and adjust that, and just kind of think about where your curves are going to be. In between curves you can have more of a straight line, but if I want a curve for kind of an eyebrow shape there, I'll go across to where that curve will end and adjust that. And then we'll go out to his snout. Maybe make him a nostril. Make him a kind of a muzzle. And then we've kind of got into this problem where we can't see what's going on. We can switch our stroke with our fill if we need to. So that now Our fill is invisible, our stroke has a color to it, or you can just kind of eyeball it as you go. Now I'm going to make some more straight lines for the teeth. They don't have to be really curved, so I can just get where I want and click. I want to create a curve here. And so I run into this problem where I've got a curve in the back. So now I know when I let go, I'm going to have a curve here, and I don't want that to be curved. I want to have that tooth there. So I'm going to undo that. And this time, when I drag it out, I'm going to get it where I want, and then I'm going to hold down the Alt key. And the Alt key will allow me to move this handle however I feel like. And I'll make it short, and I'll get it in the direction that I want the tooth to go. So then now when I do that tooth, I can have a pretty straight line. Finish up all of his teeth. I'm okay with not following my sketch exactly because it was kind of a quick doodle. Curve around there. Let's make that nice and curved there. And bam, we've got our alligator. He's looking good. Yeah, so now I will bring back my previous layers. And I want to cut the shape of this alligator out of the boat. So you should be able to figure out how to do that by now, right? The only problem is that our alligator is created in a different layer. It's not going to allow us to select the alligator and this. Sorry, it's a different layer group. So what I'm going to do is open up both these layer groups. Oops, I'm going to unlock the boat layer that I had locked so that I can drag my alligator right into the very top of the layer group. And I can even get rid of that extra layer group if I want to. Now I should be able to select my alligator and hold down Shift, select my boat, and then I can go to my Pathfinder tool and I can minus front. I cut the front shape out of the back shape, just like that. And now our boat has an alligator shape inside of it. Man, we're looking good. You'll notice that things kind of got out of order. Since the boat merged with the alligator head, and the alligator head was the top thing on my list, the boat hull jumped all the way up to the top of my layers here. So I'm going to drag that all the way back down. It just needs to be above that support. And we are going to hit save. And when you are ready, you will go on to part 3 of this tutorial to finish things up.